Barrel rolls is the reporter thrown into the secretive world of the Forex Super Model, where nothing is as it seems. Beware the techno-monk, and steer clear of Professor Code and his two assistants. Give the senior trader a wide berth, and don't expect any sense from the risk manager.
Good morning, I'm Professor Code and this is the Forex Super Model daily briefing for Thursday the 8th of the 4th 2021. Time is just coming up to 0500 GMT, Asian session coming to a close, our European session firing up, and our lunchtime is the North American US session. Right, yesterday then, Wednesday the 7th, we had a negative unopposed driver in the pound, so we had no backdoor flows. So the opposing positive flows were mainly going into the dollar at plus 104, into the yen at plus 67, and the euro was the positive rock at plus 47. Activity plus or minus 218. Intra-week then becoming more relevant. This is from Monday the 5th open to about 15 minutes ago. We've got a negative opposed driver in the pound, minus 437. Front and backdoor flows this time. Mainly going into the yen at plus 286, into the euro at plus 260, and out of the dollar at minus 109 as the rock. Activity plus or minus 546. Intraday then, so this is what's happened in the Asian session to about 15 minutes ago. We've got a negative opposed driver in the dollar, minus 39. Front and backdoor flows mainly going into the pound at plus 35, into the yen at plus 27, and the euro is the negative rock at minus 23. Activity plus or minus 62. So yesterday we had the pound negatively driving, to the exception of everything else. The dollar soaking up the bulk of the positive flows. Remember, it was the Fed minutes yesterday, late on. And over the week then, we've had negative pound driving, but it's been opposed. And the yen and the euro have been soaking up the positive flows with the dollar as the negative rock. On quite healthy activity of plus or minus 546. Right, so what's going to knock this about, or has been? Today we've got German factory orders, which are tier 2, US jobless claims later, and the US Fed chair Powell's speech. It's a Q&A on the global economy, so he's not likely to rock the boat too much in that, so it'll be business as usual. And tomorrow we've got China CPI and CAD unemployment rate. We've also had a negative outlook on the NZD, interestingly, in terms of business activity, and business confidence is negative. Right, so let's have a look what's been happening in the asset flows and the asset classes. Our trades have come back a little bit. We're now plus 1500 approximately, from a peak of plus 2900. So a little bit better, but it's still not firing, to be honest. Right, euro then. This is the full euro complex. The euro's soft, except against the dollar and the Swiss, which are softer. Excuse me. The yen is strong. It's pretty mixed actually, except against the pound, the AUD, and the NZD. The pound is strong, except against the AUD, which is stronger. The Swiss is weak, except against the dollar. The CAD is weak, except against the Swiss, the dollar and the euro, which are weaker. The AUD is strong across the board, and the NZD is strong, except against the pound, the AUD, and the yen, and the dollar is weak across the board. So what have we got then? We've got AUD strength, dollar weakness across the board. Remember, this is the Asian session, not the entirety. So and take your pick in the middle, and we've got a sort of signs of Swiss coming off, etc. So let's have a look at the other, and then we'll tie it up at the end. Let's have a look at the other asset classes. Right, so right, dollar index. Basically, we've got, it broke the high, came back, it broke the next high, and it's now operating back at this initial break resistance. Gold's come back a bit. It's about 0.25 from our modeled floor. The dollar's been all over the place, and gold's not really followed through. So oil has come off, and it came off a bit more. Oil's about half marks from the floor or the high, depending on what you want to say. So oil's quite soft at the moment. We don't think it will be shortly. Wall Street broke the high, came back, broke the next high, and it's above that. So S&P pretty similar. Where is it here? Slightly higher on the S&P in relative terms, and the tech never made it, but it's coming right back, to be honest. The tech is about 0.15 from the top now, so it's nearly at the previous resistance. US 10-year. What have we got there? We've got this sort of situation. Remember, this is the price, so the opposing is the yields. So it's come back in terms of price, so yields have come off. The bund, which is the European end of it, we're looking at about 0.45. So the price has come back much more on the Europeans, which means the yields relatively come off, but they're actually closing the yield gap, and the euro is relatively strong compared to the dollar. Right, copper. Let's have a look. Now copper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Came back to the second pump, went back to base camp, messed about, and it's now back at our old friend, which is the second pump. So not really moving anywhere. Interesting fact about copper: electric cars use 5 times the amount of copper that a normal petrol or diesel car does. Vans, take your pick. So copper, if we get this drive towards electric cars, copper is going to, from the motor industry, have be multiplied by 5. So something to think about. US steel sold off at the double top, broke, and then it's sub now the double top, so soft. But bear in mind, with US steel, we're getting this US infrastructure bill, likely to start screaming on the up US steel. Right, right. Let's tidy this up then, and finish off. Right, so the Fed's come and gone, pretty neutral. We're short US dollar against the euro, the pound, and the AUD, and we're short NZD against the euro, the pound, the CAD, and the AUD. Right, there's nothing really in the way of dollar weakness now. The dollar's likely to dirge down, and then you're going to get flows out of the yen via the equity transmission. Equities are likely to pump. We've had all this fiscal stimulus, so that's equities up. So in terms of the majors, you're left with the pound and the euro. The pound, as if you look at the flows, we've just had where is it? Yesterday the pound was the unopposed negative driver, which is usually one of two things. It's usually the start of further falls or a turning point. It's likely to be a turning point, so the pound's likely to be on the up, and the euro will be the default third place. So the euro is likely to come up off the back of dollar weakness, and then you've got the commodity currencies, the CAD, the AUD and the NZD. Bear in mind that the NZD is already pumped. It's the second highest complex at 67%. Only the Swiss is higher at 70%. So the NZD is very little elbow room. So these are likely to outperform generally the CAD and the AUD. That's why we're long the AUD against the dollar and the CAD and the AUD against the New Zealand. And so that's the whole scenario really. It's been very sticky to trade. The market has been pretty gutless in all directions, but generally we're hanging in there. We're 1,500 points up. We expect this to start steaming in our direction. Hope that was useful. See you tomorrow for the daily briefing. Thank you very much.